Hello, future Scrubscribers, and this is the Dreary Eerie, and this is our first episode of DM Dice.
Yes, this is DM Dice. Repeating. Just to give everyone an idea of what's going to be going on here, we stated in basically our startup video that we were big tabletop gamers, and this is going to be our way of sharing stories of what's happened at the table, and specifically my time as a very novice DM. So here to join me is an original member of the group, Nicholas.
Hola.
Otherwise known as Giorgio, his persona.
My name, as you know me, I am Brendan Wakely. Maxwell A. Snow on Twitter.
You are seeing us really in glorious video. It is very terrible. A terrible web camera we are using. I do not even believe that our mouths are syncing up to our words, which is going to be fun.
It's like an old Japanese movie.
You're going to really hate it if it isn't.
It's exactly like Godzilla, yes.
It's Godzilla!
It's Godzilla. Yeah, now that we have thoroughly offended the audience,
Sorry.
Including Mr. Takizawa, who's probably still pissed off at me for kicking his ass back to New York.
It's okay, he deserves it.
We're sorry, Mr. Takizawa. We never meant to kick you out.
We just invented you in our heads, and that kind of happened.
You're a completely fictional character.
So I'm gonna stop making that offensive gesture now. So anyways, figured we should start at the beginning, right, Nick?
The very beginning.
Back
with the days of William.
I know that I had this entire plan. I was gonna introduce Nick as like Giorgio because that's the nickname he goes by, but I just completely blew that first time. Called him Nick.
It's okay.
We're professional.
Nick's
you guys
fine.
left the TV on.
What? Nothing. Here's my glorious
I'll go fix that.
double chin.
And we're not going to mention what game we were playing because. Oh, now they took another one of our videos. Nick.
No.
Okay. Anyways, let's go back to the story. Yes, the days of William.
The days of William. It was a cold summer's eve night.
Yeah, so basically we decided to start the game, and the first question became, who was the most qualified to be the DM? Now I, having started the group...
Wasn't qualified, it was Liam.
Yeah, that Liam was not qualified enough. So we needed to get Will, another person in our school who had been shown immediate interest in the group, but now due to, geographical reasons. Anyways...
He's too old now.
Yeah,
we killed him.
He's 58. He's 58 years old and dead. Yeah, Nick drained the life from him. Anyways,
You're next.
I know.
Everyone's just come to know that Nick is going to get them someday.
Someday.
Anyways, so we had the.
Someday.
Okay, so we had the William days of D&D, and we were still playing some loose D&D, but when William was around, shit maintained order. We stayed vanilla when he was around.
Yes, vanilla, which included having a half-elf ranger who murdered his own children and watched his wife die and then got burnt down in a tree.
Still vanilla. Still vanilla. So,
I don't know, it tastes more like crispy chocolate.
So William and I actually were thinking of what the campaign would be about, and he looked up some... My God.
Presets.
It's at the reel. He looked up some campaign hooks. Some campaign hooks online.
They were homebrew.
Kind of. And what he decided on, what we both kind of really liked, was this idea that... And I know, that's like basically breaking rule number one. He told me what the plot was going to be about. He decided on this thing where we would go and save a farmer's daughter from the devil.
From Satan.
Yeah, from the Dark Lord...
Algorio.
From the Dark Lord Satan. 17 dark hooded figures came.
Not to be confused with Satin.
No, it's Satan.
Yeah, so basically we went on all these little small-time adventures, and what William was really good at is... He did not let you forget an enemy.
Yeah, one time we let an elf slave trader who tried to kill us. We left him with like 1 HP. leave him to die because we were like just running away, and then 5 sessions later, the same jerk came back
with more soldiers.
Yeah, with more guys that tried to kill us.
And at the point, our halfling rogue
just wanted gloves.
He just wanted gloves, but he was a wanted criminal because he failed at getting those gloves, and he picked a fight with those dark guys and attempted an intimidating war cry.
I think we need to explain how he got caught by those gloves.
Okay. So basically, our halfling, he had enough money. I guess he didn't have enough money for the gloves. He had enough money for, like, the leather components, right?
But, okay, well, our genius little half-elf rogue decided that he was going to steal some leather to make some leather gloves.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, he could have easily just bought the leather. It was not.
But the thing was,
expensive.
He went and stole the leather, and then asked the guy that he stole the leather from to make him the gloves.
That's pure genius right there.
Yes, that's exactly what happened. And long story short, it didn't work. He apologized to the guy. Yeah, he apologized to the guy. The shopkeeper was dumbfounded. He was like, "Why did you steal this very small amount of leather from me?"
To make gloves.
Yeah, so, long story short, he ran into trouble with the... Why do I keep saying long story short? It's not making it shorter. He ran into trouble with the law that way. Basically, people were looking for him.
And then he ended up finding gloves one day in a colossal fish.
My question
Inside of a colossal fish's organs, which, incidentally, was the first session I ever DM'd.
Yes. After the days of William.
After our good friend Will had to depart.
Well, actually, he hadn't left by then. He was playing his characters at that point.
Yes, he was.
Chris,
but he needed to...
Was that with Chris?
No.
No, Chris wasn't around yet?
No, Chris was not around at that point. Remember, Chris had a very, very limited tenure in our group.
Yeah.
For reasons totally unrelated to anything inside the game. He was generally a very good role player. Anyways, yes, this giant fish just shows up, and they murder it. They murder it really quickly. Yeah, as Nick said, the party murdered it very quickly. So my first time DMing logic was, well, that was too easy, so what do we do now? And I immediately said, bigger fish.
Bigger fish.
And this, again, we can say why this was like chicken shit kind of D&D, because I was not taking enemies out of the monster manual.
Because we didn't have a monster.
We didn't have a monster manual. We had like the player's handbook, and that was it.
And don't forget.
And barely anyone read the player's handbook.
My half-elf character who later went insane. And his shotgun bow.
He had the 3-notch shotgun bow, which ended the fish's life, I believe.
In one shot.
In one shot. Even the bigger fish had no chance against... He had a 3-notch shotgun bow.
And then we changed it to it so that it ended up literally becoming a Nerf bow.
But yes, literally a Nerf bow. But that was not my decision, but I ran with it, which was bad.
It was good because he was too overpowered.
Is this when you were still doing it like you did? It's like 1d. You did 6 damage extra with this bow.
Yeah.
Yep.
There was also
we added plus damages, and we rolled a d6 for targeting the body.
And don't forget, we also at one point were rolling d20s for damage.
Yes.
Every damage was d20. Oh, you're stabbing him in the butt? D20 damage. Oh, you're shooting him with a shotgun bow? D20 damage. Oh, you're slapping him across the face? D20 damage.
So, any listeners who know, like, first edition D&D, where everything did d6 damage, and the guy with the dagger was the deadliest motherfucker around, that was this, but with d20s.
D20 damage.
D20 damage.
Oh, you're sticking your finger in his nose. D20 damage.
You're gently caressing his face.
D20 damage.
Yeah.
Just like, poke.
And
we
got some very real situations there where someone gave someone a handshake, and just because he had high strength, he literally threw him across the room.
Wait.
Oh, yeah. That's rolling a dice.
That's a 17. Poke.
Yes, yeah. So that's just a good general idea. The will times were good. They were loosely ruled, but they were good, and he was a terrific storyteller. But when I took over with the fish story, it wasn't just they fought a giant fish. It was me stuttering and all this horrible stuff, and me just trying to come up with ideas, and it ended up being a rather boring
But then
session.
it became awesome when you introduced Cannibal Town.
Yes.
The best leather.
Now we
Yeah,
get
the leather made from the most delicious animal of all.
now we get to where Liam perhaps made some decent DMing decisions. And this was with Cannibal Town. So they walk into this village, right, Nick? You walked in there. Can you confirm that walking was the motion you made?
And also, this was way later, after the point where my ranger boned the elf chick behind the tree.
Yes, yeah. There's a lot of context in between. Yeah, if we weren't so scatterbrained, we'd be making a narrative out of
And the
this.
hyenas and the fireballs.
Yeah, the actual legit long story short there is they rescued some elves from some human slavers.
My
Brought them
character
to a
had sex
forest.
with one.
He boned one. As he called it, he kept saying that he was doing her or boning her behind a tree.
And then I tried to kill her father by dropping him off into a
This is
group
where the
of
book of
hyenas.
erotic fantasy.
Yeah, I was
would be
just thinking
useful.
that we need that.
The book of erotic fantasy would have been really useful.
But then he ended up being a level 10 archmage that just incinerated them instantly.
Double dildo staff.
Level 10 mage, yes. Elves, because elves.
Because elves.
You'll find later on that I do not have a fondness for elves, actually.
Superior race.
Superior race, yes. So they get into this town, basically, this village, and everyone there is... What the fuck? Okay.
No, I was not high.
It's not him high-fiving.
Yeah,
Stop it.
that was a visual recreation of Brendan's high five from the first video. So anyways, they get into this village, and everyone is abnormally cheery who, like, greets them. And they're like, oh my gosh, we're so glad to have guests. Why don't you go check out our store over there?
Why don't you buy this handbag that's made from the most delicious animal of all?
They were in the market for handbags, and the guy just could not stop. He gave them a handbag to, like, feel it. And it was, like, disgusting and coarse and just, like, very poorly made or made from some very horrible material.
And he would not tell us what animal it was.
He would not tell what animal it was, but he would also not shut the fuck up about what a good animal it was. He even said it was the most delicious animal. And then he, like, started rubbing his hands together
And don't forget,
twirling his mustache.
once my character got the critical to persuade him to tell us what animal
The man killed himself.
Yes.
He stabbed himself through the throat so he would not get with the location. So they basically found the back room,
which was filled with dead bodies.
which was filled with dead bodies, and that was basically the shopkeeper planned to kill them. So they step outside after hearing this commotion of the guy yelling, "I can't tell," and then stabbing himself.
And then helped a rebellion.
Yeah, basically, the whole point of this was that the cannibals were the ruling class of this town, and they basically had a pact with the non-cannibals that they wouldn't eat them as long as, they behaved, basically.
Tasty flesh.
Exactly, so that made them subservient, but then they hear this commotion going on, they're like,
We had it.
Well, yeah, we had it, so they freaking came and there was a rebellion.
And they won!
They won largely with the help of the PCs slaughtering half of the cannibals.
We were
On their
murderers,
way
but
out.
we were still good.
Righteous murderers. Righteous murderers for a cause.
Righteous
And this
murderers.
was before we brought in Rovnar the Paladin.
Righteous murderers that killed the horse attempted to kill the horse.
You did?
Speaking of it,
You straight up killed the horse merchant.
Back when we had the D20 damage, Legolas almost got his head just ripped off by a hammer.
I should have introduced who our characters were. Okay.
Oh, yes.
So in the beginning, there was...
Legolas, the half-elf.
Yeah, Legolas, the half-elf. Legolas. Smith, the bard, because I was inventive with names. That was Smith. That was me, yeah.
I was Legolas Turner, and you were Smith Turner.
Yeah, we were inventive with names. We did theme naming.
We were half-brothers.
They were half-brothers. Yes, they were.
Except that was never any part of the story.
No, because Legolas was always doing his own thing, and Smith was busy being the guy who buffed people.
And was good. And
was
went
a good and upright person.
almost went mentally insane after having to hide the body of the horse merchant with Legolas.
Yeah, okay, so what went down is there was this horse merchant, and they're like, okay, we really need horses. The horse merchant says, sure, for 500 gold.
And Legolas was like, nah, boing.
And John, but the horse merchant, and this was during, William was DMing at this point, right? Okay.
This was after the giant bird tried to eat me.
Yes, this was the era of D20. So,
as we'll call it.
he attacked the horse merchant, The horse merchant lived, and the horse merchant retaliated with a D20 damage ball-peen hammer.
But luckily, our mage,
missed, yeah.
I don't even remember her name, saved me with a blinding spell.
Yeah, blinded him, and we ran away. We ran with these horses.
With the horses.
And Smith did not know this because they had done this inside the building. So Smith's just like, oh, he gave us horses. That's very kind of him. And we all went on our way and did this quest in this like mine to go secure things for like this dwarf.
And then when we came back, we straight up murdered that bitch.
Because we went back there, and the horse merchant was still alive, and the only entrance into this town
was through there.
Through the passage where the horse merchant was. So the horse merchant, of course, was noticeably angry. He had even hired mercenaries to kill us, didn't he? Yeah, he had hired mercenaries
Which
to kill
we
us.
straight up murdered,
we straight up killed them. So basically, what happens is the rogue, it was the rogue, right, was able to talk him into, like, going into the building again.
And then we straight up murdered that.
Yeah, basically, Legolas the elf keeps him preoccupied while our halfling rogue basically jumps on a stool to slit this guy's throat. And then...
Because he's only like this tall.
Smith thinking, my, it's taking them quite a while to figure this out. I wonder what's going on. Goes in.
Help us hide this body.
Sees a dead body. They immediately tell him to hide the body. Smith's at an impasse. He's chaotic good. So he doesn't care that it's against the law to murder people, really, because he murders people all the time as long as they're evil.
He just cares that there was no reason to murder them.
Yeah, we killed a good aligned horse merchant because horses are expensive.
Well, we killed a paladin later too, but that's not important.
Yeah, so Smith goes, helps them bury the body, basically, so that, or actually, no, just cover up the body. Covers up in, like, some hay and stuff, like pushes it behind some hay bales, so hoping people won't find out. It was a shabby job, but it's not like they're going to be able to pin it on us.
And then, later in the years of D&D...
Well, so, you know, what happened is, Smith rolled an alignment check, he failed, he ended up becoming chaotic neutral, and this affected him so much that he became depressed and...
we named him Blacksmith. Because he wore black clothing. Because he was emo.
He transformed into an emo.
He likes to wear black because it reflects the color of his soul.
Yeah, so Smith became like...
I have so much weight on my shoulders.
He became like Pain Smith for a while and just like didn't care about his life. And that's when he got mauled to death by wolf hordes.
Oh.
But then Farlon, the god of travels, made him his martyr and brought him back to life.
That was your DMing, wasn't it? Shh. Yeah, that was when we let Nick have a shot. Well, it couldn't have been me bringing Smith back. That would have been favoritism. I don't do that shit.
No, because I attacked you with a dire wolf with 10 other wolves, and you were just like, well, shit, because I was expecting the party to stick together.
Yeah, okay, so the party was on horseback, and... The thing is, wolves can keep pace with horses, so
Smith, being the smart one, decided, let's stop and fight them. Meanwhile, the rest of the party was like, nah.
It was I and the dwarf who fought to the death, and when we realized that it was a lost cause, Smith entranced the wolves with, like, he fascinated them while letting the dwarf escape into the forest. And the dwarf covers himself in mud and stuff to, like, hide himself. And that was great.
Smith dies.
Meanwhile, Smith gets brutally murdered, and the dwarf just looks on in terror. The dwarf was Will, right?
Yes, the dwarf was
Will. The dwarf was Will. So Will just looks on and just like, oh my goodness. So
another Lord of the Ring reference, because his name was Gimli.
Yeah, he was Gimli. Oh my god.
He was becoming one with the druid.
What if Peter Jackson comes after us?
The druid wasn't invented yet.
I know. Thames wasn't around yet.
But Thames built an airship, so it's all better.
Yeah,
We'll come to that later.
We'll come to that at some other point. So basically, yeah, they get to a cave later, fight these wolves.
Wait. They get to the cave later where the halfling sat outside with a berry on him because he didn't play for like 5 weeks later.
Yes.
Forever. Until later on, he just shows up later just to get eaten by a dragon.
Yes. So we had the halfling was just out there.
Meanwhile, we fought.
We were all in the cave.
Yeah.
we fought demons.
Well, let me set the scene.
You were the DM, so
Here's
yeah,
what
that's
happened.
kind of, yeah.
The party was outside of the cave, and they were fighting the wolves. Wait, no, they weren't. The party went inside the cave.
We fought some imps.
And they fought some imps and stuff. And some monsters I invented that were essentially a whole bunch of golems. Like Gollum as a Gollum.
Yeah, we really didn't like using the monster because again we didn't have the monster manual. But literally, I had wolves.
And then there was
wolves
a big
were the
one,
enemy.
and they cut off his head, and they put it in a minecart and were pushing it with them until they saw the imps, and then they ran.
Oh, that's a
away.
running theme in our D&D group is if we
Collecting heads.
kill an important enemy, we must take its body parts.
Oh yeah,
We
Like
must use them.
like the Bone Devil tale.
like
But that's later,
everything.
too.
Thames is he likes disemboweling things.
But
and
anyways,
taking
so here's
them
the scene.
hard.
So
Good time.
what happened was we went back through the cave, only to find that the entranceway was blocked off by the direwolf and 5 other wolves, and the direwolf broke Smith's buckler with his teeth, but Smith ended up killing him in some revenge thing because now he was a martyr. He was glowing with the light of Farlon. Just-
As one of my actions, I recall I tried to make him eat the buckler.
which didn't work very well.
It did
'cause
not
then
work
He
at
almost
all.
ate your art.
Yeah, and then I just stabbed him in the face with a rapier because that's how bards deal with their problems. Casty spells, but then when something's near you, stab it with a rapier, hope it dies. If it doesn't, well, you're fucked.
I'm pretty sure it was at this point that Legolas was still not dead.
Yeah, no, Legolas was dead when it came to some downtime in the story.
Yes.
We actually had some downtime. Legolas was visiting his family. This was the dumbest freaking defection I have ever seen. Okay,
Here's what happened. My character was now married to this elf girl who already had 2 kids because her husband was dead and her father was still alive. And they were living in a tree that could talk to us because that's where we had stayed in refuge for this big forest for a long time, the forest that you died in.
Yes,
And-
the bard had convinced the tree to let them stay by speaking to it with the power of magic.
And the only characters were Smith, the
We had
mage,
our wizard.
and Legolas. And they went to the tree. You were DMing. And it
Yeah.
just so happened that when we got there, the 2 children were zombies.
Yep.
And the wife, who was now pregnant, was getting a spell cast on her by some necromancer. And so we purified the kids and killed the
Legolas did
necromancer.
something completely
And then,
out of like the
out
blue.
of nowhere, your other character,
Yes,
the lawyer,
the
Atticus
lawyer.
Finch,
Yes.
dragon kicks out of the top of the tree and blows up my wife.
Yes.
And then the mage is like, well, we got to take the kids with us because they're your responsibility now. And my character, pulling out his guitar, said, they're not my responsibility if they're dead, and cut off their heads. Meanwhile,
They were like the last bit of joy in his life, and he just murdered them. Like, okay, and here's the background for Atticus. He was literally, I named him Atticus. He was literally supposed to be, like, he was a one-off character. Like, eventually I made him a character because we needed a mage. But he was a one-off character to get the half-orc out of prison after he had pissed off some guards.
Oh, no. What happened was my character sued the half-orc
Yes,
character
yes.
for drinking because he was like,
Like
I
this.
haven't had an ale in forever. Sue me. And then Atticus came out of nowhere. Someone say sue?
Yes. Atticus won, but he got community
Remember that
service.
time I got a like the enchanter and he didn't accept music as a payment, and I eventually was able to murder someone and blame it on him? Was
Yes.
that Atticus that was helping me?
Yeah,
It's
Atticus.
always Atticus.
Atticus always does shows up when there's something corrupt.
But
in
you're
you.
forgetting the best
Atticus
part
was
of
lawful evil.
the tree story was that meanwhile, as I'm killing my children, the rest of the party is running away from the tree, which has a curse on it because of the necromancer and is dying, and it says, kill me, please. So the mage shoots a fireball at it, almost burning down the entire forest, and Legolas with it.
Thames
He
would be
killed.
proud.
They did kill Legolas,
Who then later on ended up becoming the necromancer's little puppet.
which was a kind of funny way for things to happen. But anyways, as for why,
shadowy elf figure in the distance.
of course, Atticus was there. It was basically he was going around the neighborhood and he had felt another magical presence. So he had figured, I am going to fuck this guy up. Unfortunately, he missed his shot and
Killed the wife.
Killed
who
the
ended
wife.
up having a necromancer fetus inside of her because the necromancer was like, fetus!
it was dark. It was dark when you thought about it.
Yeah, which then ran away like the thing in what is it? Is it
like
the lake cabin or something? You know what I'm talking about when you kill your zombie wife who comes out of nowhere and then after you kill her, the baby comes out.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's essentially what happened.
I was thinking like the thing in John Carpenter's The Thing, like
Yeah,
it
that's what I was
grows
thinking.
fucking
Yeah.
legs and just starts. Oh, what the fuck?
Or maybe like the alien aliens.
Oh yeah,
The original
yeah.
aliens.
Little xenomorph.
It, and then it came out of the wall later. Yeah, so
No, it didn't come out of the wall. What are you talking about?
every time his new character showed up, by the way, which was Rovnar.
Yeah, later on.
He wasn't even a paladin at this point.
After all this happens, Rovnar, my dragonborn marshal. Mind you, this is 3.5, so this is like all homebrew.
This is where we get to fucking homebrew. This is where it gets ridiculous. He was a lizard man. Well, not a lizard man. He was a dragonborn in
Marshal.
3.5 who was a marshal, a 4th edition, basically like
4th
GM
edition is horrible, by the way.
Yeah, a 4th edition class that has never been in any other. Somehow we ported the marshal over.
Because there was a 3.5 homebrew.
He has also been a bird woman who can fly, and
essentially really tall ice dwarf who was a sorcerer.
a really tall ice dwarf whose name was literally Man of Ice.
Because I had no idea what to name him.
Man of Ice.
And by the way, the bird lady's name was Cynthia.
That's such a real life name.
I know.
And then we had a werewolf show up, but oh my god, if I badmouth his I badmouth Noble Azura.
Noble was beautiful.
No, good character. He's the exception to the homebrew rule.
Well, because
it's just awful.
The thing is,
I was a bugbear once.
in the monster manual,
But that coincides with your stories.
in the monster manual,
Which we'll get to actually very soon, because this is about the point where I was introduced.
Oh yeah, and then there was Herrick the Viking.
Yeah, Herrick the Viking. His race was Viking, his class was Viking. But anyways, no, what was it? Yeah, werewolves are actually allowed that are not homebrew.
Yeah, they are not.
Because in the
They're
monster
not
manual
technically
3.5,
homebrew,
you can port over monsters to characters.
And that is why I was a kobold sorcerer at one point. Yes.
And there's that awkward silence we were trying to...
That was intentionally created silence. Don't you question it.
It wasn't awkward, it was beautiful.
So then began when the plot just got really weird. We took a billion detours.
A billion sessions.
Yeah, billion sessions. This thing went on for so long.
Until we finally got to like the Necromancer's blasted lands. And we finally got to this castle, and then that was at the point where everyone was like, fuck this campaign, we're done.
Yes!
And then we just retconned the entire fight. It just happened.
Yeah, because it was really interesting, like how we had the plot set up. Oh my god. How we had the plot set was the necromancer, being a necromancer, was like bringing back the corpses of wyverns and shit like that.
And was trying to summon the devil by killing people.
Yeah, and was trying to summon the devil by killing people. Basically,
which is where the farmer's daughter thing came in.
Yeah, that was where. So off this tiny little track. By the way, the farmer was murdered because
the farmer ended up being a paladin. We murdered him.
He was a paladin. Yeah, just because he was good. He was murdered because he was good. You guys, that's made up. So, anyways,
nothing happening.
We just had this going on
It's
where
charity.
we had an actual logical reason to be going up against the necromancer, basically. But yeah, everyone just got kind of tired of it. They fought a wyvern too, and that was where Noble really shined because he ripped the thing's eyes out and crashed it to the ground. And yeah, so basically, then they got to the lair. But
don't forget Bird Lady's badass moment.
Oh right, she flew up and stabbed the wyvern in like the spine. We are now going to give you a dramatic presentation of Bird Lady's moment, where Liam portrays the wyvern.
No, this is the wyvern. Wait. Okay, you keep talking.
Thought that was gonna be Bird Lady. Anyways. We went to this elf city, like met the king of elves and stuff like that, who was a bit corrupt. That was because he was being kind of controlled, a la Lord of the Rings.
There's a reason we have hero escape pieces.
A la Lord of the Rings. But in the end, like, the necromancer was the cause of all these problems. And that was also where I introduced the King of Men. The King of Men single-handedly killed a wyvern, and that was just to show you how badass he was. He was the big good of the series, and he had his own reasons for not getting directly involved, because otherwise, the campaign would have been over. but didn't reintroduce that character for a long time. And, you know, frankly, I was fine with that.
Until
Last
later when the
campaign.
campaign became epic again.
Yeah, we had an entire fight between
one of our
characters in the he fought one of our characters actually fought basically the equivalent of a Praetorian guard once
Wyvern?
in like a fist fight.
Bird lady.
It was pretty funny.
That turned out horribly.
That was the exact sound that it made. I described that in detail. I made the brr, and then I knocked a piece of wood against the table.
Which, if you watch our podcast, is pretty much how I pronounce French names.
Yeah, Nick lies not to you when he says that. Like, that was basically... So that's, I know it's just been like 30 minutes, but that basically me talking about the summing up the campaign. It was disjointed and
horrible.
weird and horrible, but at the same time, perhaps the most fun.
It was beautiful.
It was perhaps the most fun we had in any campaign. And here's... I'm gonna let everyone in on a little secret. We have never actually finished a campaign.
No, because the last one that we were doing, which involved lots of betrayal and plot twists and oh my gods, just got retconned like 2 weeks ago.
Basically, after the character fought the King of Men,
Yes, two of the characters decided that they were going to go and try to just fuck shit up and kill the King of Men, which was Cuchulainn, the Irish folklore.
The Irish folklore god, obviously. I take my inspirations from him.
However,
yeah, they basically died. One of them was trapped forever in an eternal dimension.
Thames actually was trying to kill them both and keep the campaign.
But the steam was taken out of the campaign at that point. And that was when I realized I will never once claim that I am a good DM. But I learned that day, when someone fucks with the campaign, you don't even go like divine retribution on them. You don't even give them what they're asking for.
You just drop
so
rocks on them.
You just kill them.
Rocks fall and you die.
You just kill them because I actually overestimated the stamina that the party had at this point for the campaign. But beforehand, the whole reason campaigns were getting dropped was because everyone was the DM.
And they were horrible.
Except
I was the DM.
I was
Nick was the DM.
I wasn't that bad. Random things happen.
Yes.
I've never DM'd.
Oh, we're just gonna edit me out saying his name because we haven't asked his permission yet.
Okay.
We'll cut that out, and it'll just look awkward.
And when we say cut it out, we mean forget to.
But we'll cut it, obviously. Anyways.
If we're not.
So yeah, we have lots
that.
of DMs. Like William.
We cut something out.
Hopefully.
We'll remember.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we can get on to the golden age. The Nick DM'd golden age.
Nick came up with a
Why
beautiful
Nick
story.
is in the center.
No, that's not the reason I meant to say.
Yes, it is.
Oh.
This was the camp. Was this when Thames was introduced in? I think so.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
This was Thames Quintel, Master Druid.
Yeah, that was a really weird introduction for Thames.
So basically, he was introduced at that time. It was fun times.
That may happen a couple times in the video, just saying.
Okay, so we got the DM back. Oh, glorious DM.
Anyways, what happened was we had started a campaign with one of our other DMs, who then decided to just give up on it. So I took forth from there, and I decided to make a story about the characters all had these weird tattoos that could essentially...
That was not this one yet.
Nick,
what?
not
We're jumping ahead.
What are we talking about?
The one Thames was introduced in.
We're talking about that, yeah.
Huxley, Papa Bear.
I didn't DM that one.
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
No.
Yeah, you definitely did. I was playing Huxley. Huxley was mine.
No, because... Wait.
Yeah, you
were right with the setup that... Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, because that's
Remember the flaming seed?
Rovidar came back, and then you guys had to fight a Triceratops.
Where Thames was introduced.
And then you guys got horribly, brutally
We practically
murderated.
mutinied at the Triceratops. That thing was was it like CR6 or something?
It was CR6 and you were all like level 3.
We were all level 3, CR6. Thank God for the cannon.
Sorry. He was CR like 3 or 4. You guys were all level 1. But you had 2 level 3s on your side. Rovidar and
Big
Brother Bear.
Brother Bear, yeah.
Brother Bear, who was Papa Bear's son.
Big Brother Bear, he's always watching you.
Thames got introduced in the middle of this fight, and it was very weird because it was my first day of D&D, and I'm introduced with the first thing I hear is, "You're fighting a Triceratops."
What?
There's dinosaurs in D&D.
Weird man walked out of the forest.
Decided to fight a
It was
dinosaur.
better than Zenith the half orc, who was introduced with
Horrible entries every single time.
Zenith was introduced with you are a slave.
You
Punch
are
it
a
to
slave
death.
and you are running away.
Yeah, he ran in and had to punch things to death because he didn't have any weapons yet.
And then when all the
No.
old characters got reintroduced, just like, what about Zenith? Oh yeah, Zenith is there.
Because most adventurers start with their adventurer's kit and like their tools and their weapons.
No.
Zenith started with a fucking loincloth, and that almost
And
got
his
burnt off.
fists.
That almost got burnt off in like the first 2 hours of play when he was going through a forest punching giant moths to death.
Bam, 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 bam.
We have fun here. We have fun here. This is
we have fun here. We have fun here.
No, Brendan, he's doing it again.
I've got you,
Okay,
Liam.
okay.
He's in character again.
I know. We should LARP one day.
No.
And when we say LARP, we mean not
No.
LARP because LARP is taking it too far.
Yes. Says we who
Grins.
made a
That
cast
made
about
me
this.
chuckle. No, okay.
Anyways, maybe back on topic. Maybe.
Are we on topic yet?
Okay, well that one was just horrible. Let's just not talk about
let's
that
introduce the characters that came in though, because these would be recurring characters. Things
Papa
would
Bear?
come.
one. Oh yeah,
Let's
Papa
go with
Bear.
okay. So I played Papa Bear, who I have now redubbed Papa Bear, Lord of Barringtonshire.
Who owned his entire
He owned-
organization.
He was a bugbear who enslaved forest bears. And
mainly black bears.
mainly black bears because
The
they're the easiest
racism
to come
begins.
across. Yeah, but anyways, he was this rich agriculture supplier. He spoke in a southern drawl, and he was the creation of mine and another member of the group's.
The metal.
Yes, the one who was the metal. He came across. He said, "Hey, you know, what'd be good is if we had a character who was like the Papa Bear from Goldilocks and Three Bears." So I came up with this, and I decided to make him speak with this weird like my approximation of a southern accent, which isn't really much of one.
Like some unsweetened
Look,
iced tea.
He had an addiction to unsweetened iced tea. Sweetened iced tea made him sweetened iced tea would make Papa Bear insane. Was what we always did. He had a natural healing factor from drinking unsweetened iced tea. This is still in the bullshit homebrew stage, as you can probably tell. The bugbears technically are legit.
Mind
Yeah,
you, this is when the pretty awesome doppelganger thing happened.
Yeah, that was my other character.
Huxley.
I was on enough two
Huxley.
characters. Huxley was a foreign sailor, basically.
Privateer, I think.
He was a foreign privateer.
Who was obsessed
army.
with cannons.
And he was obsessed with cannons so much because he was not able to bring cannons off of his ship when he landed. It wasn't really his ship, but he served on it. He always wore like this really, really like it was supposed to be like English style military dress, and he never changed it. He never put on new armor. It was always that. He always wore that.
He also told everyone to die and fuck themselves.
Die and fuck themselves in that order, people.
Yes.
Die and
He-
then fuck
He
themselves.
didn't tell Fames that though.
Well, that's because I don't know.
With those friends, that was when the metal was introduced, and they got along quite well.
Yes.
Huxley and he.
Mainly because the metal was the son of Nerul and was just overpowered in every single way.
Yes.
He was a cannon.
And then we had.
It makes sense now.
Yeah, it makes sense that it was the cannon he was looking for all along.
But then Huxley ended up becoming one of the traitors in the other campaign.
Oh, shush. No one said he died. Shush.
He didn't die. He just became a traitor.
Anyways, yeah, maybe we should go more into Thames Quintel though, as he's
Thames
the most.
Quintel.
He is the most prominent of those recurring characters.
Thames Quintel is my character. Don't touch the goggles, Nick. Thames Quintel was my character. Thames was.
Stop recoiling though.
Thames
oh my god, I'm
was-
showing
oh,
off my other chins
You want
now.
to see my chins?
Ah,
Gin contest.
oh my. Oh my.
It's like a xylophone. But anyways. Okay,
We always said you were fat on the inside.
Thames was.
Fames. I'll start off with how I created Fames. So I was like, I've always wanted to try D&D, and so I was like, Liam was like, yeah, I play D&D. I'm like, oh, can I join you? And he's like, yeah, we need a caster. I'm like, okay.
I'll be a druid.
And he's like, I'm like, is there any melee fighting casters? And he's like, there's the druid who can shapeshift. I'm like, I'm in. That's what I'm doing.
This was the point where.
And this is that again 3.5, right? Codzilla. That's why he can melee and he can cast, because this was the Codzilla era.
And don't forget when he burnt down the orc camp with
Oh,
a
I haven't
raven
got there.
and a match.
Yeah, yes. Not even a match. I was in a forest and I saw a bugbear camp. Being a druid,
Oh,
they were
bugbear
like burning animals. I'm like, I can't have that happening. So I'm like, you bird, take that stick, go to that fire, burn down that camp, and it worked.
But the bird did not survive.
No, I was very.
The bugbears killed it.
It was because bugbears are stupid. We'll go with that.
Or because I got
That's racist.
Or because Nick got really good rolls for me.
You mean the bugbears just got really bad rolls?
Yeah, they got bad
As in,
rolls.
3 of them got critical fails to see the bird.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, so that was actually very interesting. That's one of Thames' good examples. But again, for those of you who I would like to get through the concept of Codzilla, just so you know. In 3.5, Thames Quintel was hippogriffs.
Yes.
He was not a man.
I was a human.
Do you know how annoying that was? I had to stat 2 hippogriffs every battle.
Every turn, usually.
Yeah, we probably read the rules wrong for 3.5.
No, we did not.
No, that's just what they could do. You could summon 2 animals at the same time.
Yeah,
Yep.
so basically,
While
to
melee fighting.
give you an idea, 3.5,
was broken for druids.
the
It was
cleric
so
and the
broken.
druid can do everything, and they can do everything better than everyone else.
And they can do everything to everyone in Geos.
The druid is a better fighter than the fighter. He is a
Only
better melee
because he can
fighter
turn
than
into
any
animals.
other class because he can shapeshift.
And
He is a better caster than the wizard. Now that's arguable. If the wizard's sufficiently prepared, he's the deadliest in the team in 3.5. But the druid, you need to be on your A game. The druid can be sloppy as hell and still just destroy everything.
Bam,
now,
bam,
James
bam,
Quintel
bam,
was generally pretty smart, except Brendan eventually he didn't remember. He eventually figured out he just needed to summon hippogriffs.
Yeah, there's
He could create a wall of hippogriffs around himself.
Oh, you mean like that time you used a wall of fire on a fire giant?
No, it wasn't even a wall of fire created. It wasn't that spell. I used overgrowth, which creates a bunch of plant life in.
Oh yeah, then you set on fire.
So but that's
And then he just
different.
stepped inside of it and used his tattoo powers. Just...
Yeah, that was Rovenar.
So, Fame stories again.
No, not Rovenar.
Fame's. Oh, by the way, Fame's working name was Finnegan Flynn.
His what name?
His working name. When I was first creating him, it was Finnegan Flynn. But then I got Mutiny on the Bounty, I think it was, that I was taking names from. And I got, first thing I saw was Thames from the Thames River. And then I thought
know it's called the Thames, everyone.
Yes.
We know it's called the Thames.
Yes, I am very ignorant to that.
All of English people, calm down. But now they're going to criticize my pronunciation. They'll be like, it's not the Thames, it's something else. You're both horribly incorrect. I am now 6 eyes.
And
Fear me.
Thames didn't have a backstory, anything in 3.5. He was just a druid that was slightly insane and liked eyes. That was his whole personality.
Oh, and you also decided that you wanted to, kill some man by putting a flea in his brain.
Whoa. That
Which
was
was
later.
you.
That was later.
That was later. He did throw a spider at someone to murder them.
Oh, I should tell you about that. That's a great story. Thames is, of course, he was going to a pet store to find a pet. And then it ended up being him robbing a whole pet store. He's like, do you got anything more dangerous? And he's like, I got this spider that I haven't devenomed. And Thames is like, oh, can I see it? And he's like, no, it's a little bit dangerous. I'm like, can I see it? And he's like, sure. I'm like, I'm a druid. He's like, okay, here you go. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And I'm like, I throw it at the storekeeper. I missed. Nick wanted the storekeeper to call for guards, but Liam pointed out that was a small town and wouldn't have guards. And so there was no guards to save him. So what I do is I murder him. I believe I just started hitting him with my sword. Murdered him. Then in the back room I saw a boa. Was it an anaconda or a boa constrictor?
It was a python, actually.
Python. Yeah, it was a python. And I'm like, Python, you need to eat this man and hide the body. And so I managed to do that, and I took some ink from
Another
that.
good recreation. Good recreation there. Recreation.
I took some things that I later used to do some really cool things. Like I took ink from that guy, and I used it to later blind a werewolf with it, and murder that werewolf.
Yeah, that was when we were in the Age of Werewolves.
There was
yeah. Because
yeah.
I was
That was
I
also where the
forced-
hippogriffs came.
I
to
was
full
forced
force.
to DM for a day that I was not prepared for, and I found out in the monster manual all the werewolves are in one section. So why not just have all of them fight you? We had wereboars, we had werebears, we had wererats, we had werewolves, we had weretigers. It was easy.
There was even a few things that don't exist anymore.
Like werebeavers.
I did not do werebeavers. I did dire beavers.
Oh, right. You didn't
Dire
get to
beavers
werebeavers.
in the frosty Arctic.
Anyways, to say,
When my party came around looking for Fames, I was still in the pet store, and they're like, "Oh my God, what happened here?" And it's like, "This is what happens when you don't feed your pet." What character was it? Was it no more? Was it the Tiny Paladin?
Formore.
Boromore, the
Boromore-
teensy paladin.
Boromore was trying to investigate and try to figure out
keep
what
talking
happened
about
here, and he was like, Liam was like, "Formore investigates, and how much of the body's left?" Nick, who was DMing? Nick,
I was
right?
DMing.
Nick, sorry.
I was
no
just
memory.
like, there is no body left.
And he rolls. There is no body left. Mission success. And that was the beginning of Fames' horrible murdering.
Note that Formore the Teensy Paladin, at least at some point,
Well-
either before or after that, did basically be the meat shield for Fames when a zombie polar bear attacked us in a cathedral.
Actually,
Yeah.
Formore and Fames were really good friends to some extent. Like, we fought
Didn't
together a whole
Formore
lot.
die?
They were a good team. No, Formore did not die.
Oh, no.
Formore assisted in the rebellion.
Yeah, the rebellion where we made our own army and everything and then never went back to that campaign.
You know what?
That was
great
the one
story.
with Orion, who ended up like stabbing some guy in the shins
I
repeatedly
swear
to
we've
get
completed
answers out of him.
stories sometimes. We've completed Call of Cthulhu stories.
Yeah, wait, wasn't I using a spear for that? Because I remember you jumped up on my spear.
Yeah, that was actually during the were creature fight.
Yeah, that was during the rare creature fight.
Formore climbed up onto a spear despite being in full armor and probably would be incapable of doing so. Like, grabbed onto it and then stabbed a wereboar in the eye.
He was using a hammer too.
Actually, it wasn't stabbing. He literally just cracked it in the face.
Yeah.
No, didn't you have a gnome pick?
No, it was a hammer.
I'm sure I did have a pick that I was using the hammer most of the time. Divine Split. Playing a paladin was actually very fun. It was just
It
the
was.
character wasn't used again.
The thing with Fames too is I usually...
Rovnar wasn't the same level. Dragonborns can't be as good a paladin as gnomes.
For those of you
Gnomes.
who play Skyrim, you know how you
That's
always
supposed to be
end
a
up
joke.
over encumbered? That's what I do with Fames. I'm like,
Truth.
I'm in a church, I'll take some holy
No,
water.
Give me those back.
I want the power.
I want the power to myself.
I'm in a church, I'll take some holy water, and I always have something which I can use later. For some reason.
You are always over encumbered, man.
Yeah,
Because
I
we
am
never
over-
worried about weight limits. Everyone just happened to have a bag of holding on them at every single point of time.
Yep.
needs
Back holding. So good.
who needs carry weight?
We all became Link
Yeah,
and his magical holding of all of his items.
Yes, and we could only choose from 4 different types of armor.
And I believe the werewolf fight was where we ended that campaign.
Oh, and don't forget, back in the D20 era, armor had separate pieces. Every armor piece had its own armor rating.
Oh no.
Good job, Liam.
And they all had you could have
Fuck.
metal chain hands, and you could have wooden boots, and leather chest piece, and Quorapeko headpiece.
Yes, yes. And then you got out your Quorapeko bagpipes and started doing some pipes and started doing. Okay, now we've lost everyone.
And then we that's where that campaign ended, and then we moved on to the next campaign. Which,
It's from any good DM's perspective, this looks like a series of failures.
It
And
is.
that's because it is. Yes.
yeah.
We have one point. Okay, wait a minute. We haven't gotten to the full extent, the full extent of the bullshit we've pulled off.
There was a Cthulhu episode.
There was a stone giant. Was steel or stone?
There was an
Colossus?
iron golem,
Iron golem.
a rune walker or whatever he was called.
Yeah,
He had magical powers and stuff. That were with the party. There was a Doulahan
Consume me.
and other people.
I was a Doulahan.
Yeah, you were Doulahan.
I was a headless horseman. I could only say I could only say the name of the person I was trying to kill, except for like once every hour where I could actually say something intelligible. And I did surprisingly well. There was a part where we had to convince these prisoners to rebel against their masters. Somehow with my one-word speaking method, I was able to convince about 50% of the prisoners
This is the point
to join
where
us.
the Iron Golem literally ripped out a room and crushed half the enemies with the room. He was just like, nyeh. His name was Colossus.
This is what life was.
He
This
was
is what-
raised from a rock.
Immediately afterwards, we decided to never again homebrew. There was also
Yeah.
a griffin for one session. There was a griffin.
No,
And
he
then-
was a Sphinx, was he not?
I know, he was totally a griffin.
I thought he was a Sphinx.
He was totally a griffin. Yeah, we had this griffin, and Ladulahan like rode on top of it, and like he had this bone whip, right? So he like wrapped it around this guy's neck, somehow tied it up, and flying on top of the griffin, he flew towards this group of like pirates, like untied the whip and just somehow flung. I think he ended up like ripping the head off by like the whip just somehow like breaking his neck off, and the guy's corpse went tumbling into these other pirates. It was such bullshit homebrew.
It was.
I just had an idea.
The ship battle was fun though.
On top of all this tabletop RPG.
Whoa!
crap,
We.
You know what we should do?
Hmm?
Now we're
Betrayal at
lighting.
House on the Hill. We'll do it. We'll do it. We will.
Maybe.
Here
we
we-
have to talk about it first.
Okay,
Here
but
we go, everyone. Let them decide.
let
You,
them.
you,
yeah, that
you
one
guy
person,
in the comments.
that one person who commented, who's actually our friend.
And
We love
maybe,
you.
maybe if you are watching this, El Chess Breach, yeah, you
like,
you
comment,
guy.
subscribe.
subscribe.
There we go.
Yeah. Maybe we shouldn't do it in that order. We should do subscribe, like, comment,
And,
Subscribe,
oh yeah,
like,
I like
and
that.
more.
No.
Ooh.
No.
And
No.
more.
No. No.
Yeah.
No. No.
More.
We
No.
still have a like 9 minutes left of an episode.
Yes,
we
we
can
do.
probably still keep going.
We should.
we could.
Should
Just
we
like
talk?
always, we can't do a chronological
Should we
story.
talk about
Then we move.
tattoo power time?
No. We
Okay.
probably should talk about the next campaign, just for the one story of like the 5 minutes we had of that campaign.
Which campaign? Oh wait,
The one of the person we can't name because he hasn't agreed to it yet.
that campaign.
So the setting was we were in a courtyard. It was a public,
of this yet.
and it was like a public execution. Of what
Yes,
we
wow.
later identified as the king of that area.
That was when I was 4 more the Teensy Paladin, I recall.
Yeah. So everyone was like, in the party was like, you know what? Except for one person, I can't remember who was like, I'm just gonna screw off and go steal stuff. I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh wait, no, I was part of this.
yeah.
I was Orion.
Who was it that was screwing off and stealing stuff?
No,
Perhaps
buddy.
Nick knows the answer.
No, buddy.
Yes.
My halfling rogue named Orion, who
Of course he
was
was
like-
a halfling rogue.
who was like, wait, here was his logic. Everyone's watching the king get beheaded. There's not going to be any guards around in town nearby the shops or anything.
What he did not estimate was DM.
DM decided that there was guards around in the shops waiting for me.
Yeah.
Because the guards had predicted this exact action of thieves, which I guess is not really that's not off base.
No,
Like,
that's
you could-
probably logical. That's really logical.
Yeah, you could easily especially if they were private guards.
He was smart.
They were never asked.
And then later on, they found this magical teleportation thing that could let them teleport to
And someone
anywhere in town.
wasn't like the DM was saying, no, you can't use that for stealing.
But I wanna.
And eventually got upset at us because we couldn't figure out how to use it. And, I mean,
Because we were too dumb.
We're always too dumb. It's like his that specific DM's campaigns are
Here's the
always
thing.
too high concept
Here's the
for
thing.
us.
My character was like, maybe
We're
we
so
can teleport
stupid.
inside the castle and steal things. Clicks on the castle, nothing happens. Well,
We're so stupid.
rude.
We can never make it. We
I
can
was like,
never,
can I teleport behind the
we
castle?
can never do. We can never actually. I don't actually think about anything.
but I think we should get back to the main plot there was, and so everyone in the party was like, let's go and kill the people beheading that king, because there was also children being beheaded, and that's wrong. Even to Thames, that's morally wrong.
And then we almost got beheaded.
Yes, it's always
Who
been
is
wrong.
neutral, so I don't know why he's so horrible of a person.
And this is when we had Logain, the Almighty and Magnificent, or whatever we call it. No, Logain, Master of the Arcane.
The game master there.
And so everyone was attacking him, and Thames was like, let's summon a viper to poison him. That worked. That viper killed him. That thing
Killed him dead.
Formore rushed up to the stage and was going to attempt to reason with some people, but then he attempted to kill the Viper, which he was unsuccessful in doing. The Viper kind of just slithered away. Or maybe he did get him, but he wasn't fast enough. Regardless, the guy died, even though Formore tried to save his life. And then Formore, realizing that the guards were mean people, and that there was like a flow of people, first off, he got trampled, but his armor helped him. He lived, and then he just ran. He booked it as fast as his tiny, heavily armored gnome feet could carry him, which was not fast, but it was fast enough.
And that's essentially all there really was to that story.
Well, not even. There was this story, which we should mention because we do make jokes about it quite a bit, where the crown from the king kind of rolled off the stage.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Was it you that was trying to take it? Who was trying to take it? Someone
Yeah,
else besides...
Orion was trying to grab it, and you were like, nope.
Nope! Giant eagle, crown for Thames! And I totally forgot to tell the eagle to bring the crown to Thames. So the eagle took the crown
and
flew
brought it
off
home.
forever.
Just took it. So there's like some
And so,
random. There's
I
a
wasn't
random
sure.
chest with a, or so, not some chest. There's a random like nest of eagles with a crown like embedded in it now.
And we have never found that crown. Never.
And so there's this in-joke that eventually Thames will find a time wizard that will send him back into time where he'll become a giant eagle and become that giant eagle and get the crown, becoming the king of that place. Mind you, that place would probably be dead by then, but he has
If that
the
was
crown.
how monarchies worked, if it was.
Yes, and he would have that crown.
Yes.
Gotta find a time wizard first, though.
So that tells you that's general ideas. Of course, we could have gone more in depth, but that's several months of failed but
And-
somehow fun D&D campaigns.
And now at like the end of our last campaign that just got retconned, our characters are like now all retired. They're just like, we're just done with this.
Except for Thames. Thames still does stuff.
Thames
with
is
this
young.
area.
yeah, what are we gonna
Thames
do?
has a
Thames
life
is
to
not young. He's 43.
My Dragonborn's like 100 and something. He should technically be dead.
We got.
I'm midlife for a human, though.
I have a 50-something bard now.
The funny thing is,
He's kind of done.
we horribly gauged the Dragonborn's age from homebrew and thought that they were like elves. So I'm like, his age is still like scaled by elf age, and he has an elf wife and now lives in like some mansion in a forest just by himself because he hates people.
Yes.
He's not even a paladin anymore. He's just done with people.
He's done with life.
He's a druid now.
He's given up. Level 1 druid. He was a level 11 paladin, but he gave it all up. What's a paladin?
What's a paladin?
What's a paladin?
What is a paladin?
What's a paladin?
Rovenar's paladin. He
Okay.
still has
Good-
paladin powers.
Good answer. Good. I'm the avatar now.
And so our most recent campaign, which we're not going to film because we'd have to catch you up, and I don't think anyone's quite sure what's happened in the past, unless maybe you, because Liam's character writes everything down.
Yeah, with this recent stuff, we'll talk about that. So yeah, it's a history of failure, everyone.
But
I
soon
think
we will be videotaping this failure and sending it to you.
I just kind of
Not live.
I kind of want to bring the thought back around about how I was mentioning how Thames' working name was Finnegan Flynn. I decided when I had to create a new character because someone wouldn't let me make another one.
It was
Not
so
everyone-
good when no one could see what was going on.
Footsies.
I was like, I don't know what to
We're
name my
straight.
character, and so I decided, yes, we decided to
Am
name,
I again?
we decided to name the Thames' son Finn Quintel.
Instead of Thames Quintel.
Yeah,
Instead of Finn McCool.
Finn
Well, it's-
Quintel?
because how would that happen? That your name, that his son's name is Finn McCool.
I don't know. He has a weird sense of humor.
Change his last name to McCool just so that his son can be Finn McCool.
We are about to come to the end of the video, and
That's a
so
lot.
Because we have strictly regimented time schedules.
yes, and we may have to record a video. after
They're
that.
both lying heathens. All of them are lying heathens.
No,
All of them.
Rover,
All of them. All of them.
no!
Which is actually part of a different story. Rovnar, what was it? He
We'll get to
rolled
it.
so horribly that he thought the person was lying when they were telling the truth, and he just started calling everyone lying heathens.
We'll need to get some focus on these videos more because we basically just told the broad story of months of D&D.
Yeah, well, that's good. They know kind of things. Oh, Thames' backstory was created in between campaigns where as a joke, Liam said his whole family had become ravens because originally Thames had a pet raven. And, like, his whole druid village became ravens.
That's so
I have a very good history of writing Brendan's canon for him.
Yeah,
That's
and
so
then I'm like,
Raven.
and at first I'm like, no, I don't like that.
Corey is the best anime.
And in the last campaign we did,
Best
I was like,
motherfucker.
you know what? No, Fame's family and whole druid village was destroyed by ravens, and that's why he's all alone. And that gave
Yes.
it made him very sad of a character.
All that canon. Can you feel it? By the way, we don't do any actual D&D settings. We just come up with them.
Yeah.
Everything is just on the spot.
Yeah.
Which we should probably stop, but we're gonna do it anyways.
Everyone, let's go to Dragonlance.
Yeah.
We're not actually going to Dragonlance.
We're not going. Shh. We're not actually going.
Oh,
You lied.
Oh. Anyways,
You lied. Why are you upset about
It's
yourself
an
lying?
hour and 30. The time is now.
I'm very easily manipulated by myself.
Yes.
Anyways,
This is the end of the video, so I would just like to ask you if you could subscribe, and comment in the section down below on our bad DMing. That'd be great.
And no, you're not getting rid of me. I will be back.
Yeah, he'll probably be back since he is a major part of the group.
I thought you were trying to kill me.
no.
My name is Brendan, as I
Give me a
said.
pat.
My name is Nick.
Liam.
My name is Liam.
Go.
Ah!
Finish.
I'm proud.